Tipped my hand a little bit there, didn't I? Christian, Bailey, Darth Vader in live action. I don't need to say anything more. Let's get into this.
I'm good.
Yes, and we're back. It's good to see you both. Bailey, how are you doing, man? Welcome back from your trip.
I'm doing well, thank you. I had a great time, and it was nice to be able to do both last time. So, yep, happy to be here.
I'd like to speak on the entire staff of the Paul's Collectibles YouTube channel, and thank you, ma'am, for dividing out your time while you're on vacation to come still hang out with us. It meant a lot, so I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Christian, you know I love you, brother. It's always good to see you. How are you and the rest of the United Kingdom doing today, sir?
We're good. We're good. I think the majority of the nation are excited today, actually, because the Queen's 70th Jubilee and birthday celebration started officially. So it was a huge parade, big air fly past and stuff. Yeah, it's nice to see flags flying in the streets.
Nice. So I will tell you, that's even big news here. It's like the top story on all the news websites and everything here in the States too. So I actually knew the Jubilee. Thank you for telling me what it was, but I was like, oh, Jubilee, cool. So do you mind if I put you on the spot for just a brief second, Christian?
Okay.
You have some beautiful artwork behind you today, and I was wondering if you would be so humble as to explain to us where that incredibly beautiful artwork came from, my friend.
Thanks. Yeah, I did it myself. So this one here is like our favorite films that I did maybe the year before last or even before that, to be fair. And then during lockdown, I had a lot of free time, so I can't work out the camera, these two. So this is favorite TV series, and then this is favorite sort of cartoons and graphic novels and bits and pieces. So.
Wow, absolutely. I'm so jealous. Like I told you earlier, I couldn't even imagine that, much less put it on paper. It looks so good, man. They look beautiful behind you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I have zero talent. My talent is being an idiot and entertaining people. That's about all I can do. So, and after a while, look at Bailey's face. After a while, when it wears off, then I don't have any talent anymore. Oh my God. All right. Well, welcome to Paul's Collectibles Obi-Wan Kenobi breakdown. We're talking about episode 3 today. If you haven't seen it, this is not the place for you if you don't want spoilers, because we're going to get deep into it today. A lot of cool stuff happened. If you're watching us live in the comments, I'm going to talk about you in just a second here. We'll say some highs. And if you're catching us on the replay, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you have any suggestions, comments, or concerns, make sure you put them down in the comments below after we're done with the broadcast. But for now, let's head over and say some highs really quick. Bailey, what do you think?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. There's Wizzy Wiz first in today.
Nice.
Yeah. Connor, best breakdown show going for Kenobi. You spoil us. You know, it's because I got Christian on here. The English guys all stick together.
Connor's not English. Don't upset him.
Oh, that's right. He, UK guys I don't know. Part of Ireland is in the UK. Part of it isn't. I don't know. We're Americans. You guys are all English as far as we're concerned. Sorry, Connor. I know you're Irish. I apologize.
We've been on for 4 minutes and you've offended an entire people.
That's what I do, boo. Sorry about that, Connor. I knew you were Irish. I know you guys over there all stick together. How about that? Because even all sticking together, we still outnumber you 10-1. So there's Jonathan, Evening Paul, Bailey, Christian in chat. Geek Strong, Dino. What's up? Best part of Star Wars. Yeah. Let's see. There's Rick. Always good to have Rick. I can't wait to get down to it jumped fast. I can't wait to get down to the comments below that have caught up with what I just said and see how much crap I'm about to get. There's Retro Ed. He's in the UK. I can tell. Rolando, it's good to see you. I love Rolando's icon, by the way. Oh, let's come out. Oh, check it out. There's Luke. Yo, everyone. Okay, I see how much I love you all. I've not seen episode 3, but I'm prepared to accept spoilers too. Wow. Okay. You don't like it. Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Luke. There's Matthew. He's a good lad, Matthew. Brian's Action Figures and Reviews. Good to see you, man. Wow, everybody's saying hi. Someone said, hey, Tez. I didn't see Tez in here, though. I must have missed it. Oh, yeah. There's Josh. All right. Josh is stretching his keyboard fingers. I can tell you that already. It's fitting to get his type on. Bailey, look at that. It's JT again.
Hi, JT.
Yeah, exactly. Vader! And then lots of flames. Appropriate. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, okay, Matt. We fought a war not to care about which of you guys is in which country over there. Wow, Matt. Just join me on the offended entire people over here train. Wow. That's great. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It keeps jumping because we're just so popular now, really. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah. Nice work, Christian. See, there you go.
Oh, thanks, Matt.
Got to get the Christian Gray Pants. We'll see you now. Yeah. Oh, a waiting room. It's a very classy waiting room for sure. Rick, he's in Canada. You all look the same to us, Christian. We don't know. Matt, as an Irish descent American, I'm offended. I knew that was have you not seen Darby O'Gill? I don't even know what Darby O'Gill is. We actually love our nutty English neighbor, Saul. Good. Okay, good. Thank you. There's Unit Fam. Good to see you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Hoppy's Creations. Thank you. It's good to see you. I appreciate you dropping by. I always love to see a kind of a new name in one of my streams. And coming on down. Okay, that's pretty much everybody. Wizzy Wizard's making that. Oh, Josh, you like that, huh, buddy? Yeah, Josh has one too, just so you know. His was from the Obi-Wan or the Book of Boba Fett show. Oh, okay. My bad. I got Reynolds mixed up with Rollins. Okay, yeah. One's Luke and one's Tez. Okay, here we go. Matt's collection says Darby O'Gill is also on Disney Plus. Great movie. Yeah, well, maybe I'll check it out. All righty. So with that, you guys, I think we got a jam-packed episode. Plenty of cool stuff to talk about. I got some questions for you two knowledgeable people, and I want to kind of get right into it if you're cool with that. Christian?
Yeah, I'll do my best.
All right, Bailey, you ready for this, ma'am?
I am ready, yes.
All right. So we left off last time. They'd just gotten on the trade route auto flyer thing or whatever it's called. And there's a lot of lore in there about trade routes and stuff that we won't bore the audience with. But we start right off again, Bailey. And this is a question I want to start with you on. He's obviously trying to meditate again and get Qui-Gon to answer him, but always hearing his voices from his past. Can you kind of tell me what's going on here? And do you know, is there a reason for why he's unable to reach out to Qui-Gon? And do you think it's ever going to happen?
Well, that is interesting because I'm kind of wondering the same things for myself. 10 years have passed and, he still has not heard from Qui-Gon, which I find incredibly interesting because they make such a big deal about that at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Is Yoda's like, oh, in your solitude, I'm going to do this training with you and communicate with Qui-Gon. But here we are 10 years later and he's still struggling to it's kind of like he's just calling Qui-Gon and Qui-Gon's just, missed call. And I'm not entirely sure why that is because, I have the Kenobi Legends book and it was like the same thing. He's like constantly trying to reach out to Qui-Gon and he's just kind of left hanging. So I'm not entirely sure. I feel like it should happen eventually considering, he has to communicate with Qui-Gon in order for him to know how to get to the Netherworld, when he gets, he becomes a Force ghost for a reason. So I think communication will happen. I'm just not entirely sure why Qui-Gon's not answering right now. I don't know if this is some sort of psychological test he's doing where Obi-Wan has to kind of confront his past and confront Anakin in order for Qui-Gon to show up. I don't know. I'm wondering the same things myself, and I'm curious to know if, what people think on that too. But I hope that we hear Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon can't be a ghost because he didn't complete his training when he was killed, but I'm hoping we hear his voice eventually because that is necessary in order for Obi-Wan to become a Force ghost one day. So I'm hoping. But my guess is Qui-Gon is kind of waiting for Obi-Wan to get his shit together to remember who he is and confront the past. So yeah, I think this is kind of like a Jedi trial for Obi-Wan that we're seeing here.
Oh, that's a very good point. And I don't know if you saw, I think you might have even been here still, Bailey. Alan supposing that when Qui-Gon finally does say something, he's going to tell Obi-Wan Kenobi, I have a particular set of skills. Which I thought would be really cool. Christian, do you have some thoughts on what's going on here and whether or not we'll hear from Qui-Gon?
I mean, to completely echo what the guys in the chat there are saying, and also what Bailey just said, I think that we're going to see Neeson by the end of the series. That's my gut feeling. I think there'll be a reveal at the end. I mean, clearly Obi-Wan is not all together at the moment, as we've seen in this episode specifically. But I mean, also, I don't know who said it, but someone said like everywhere you look, there's something to see. That still that you've got there, I can't help but see that and notice that the light falls in such a way that it looks like Vader's meditation chamber.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what
It
I
looks
mean?
like yeah, the Empire walls. Yes, I saw
Yeah,
that. Uh-huh.
I kind of wonder if there's some sort of a mirroring thing going on here, which seems to happen quite a lot.
Agree, because while he's doing this, we're getting cut shots of Anakin being turned into Darth Vader, and they keep going back and forth. So I thought it was kind of like supposed to be like maybe a contrast. Does that sound right, Christian?
Yeah, no, definitely, and that does happen a lot in this episode specifically. It's very much a duel between them, both in mind and physically, as we see.
Agree. Well, sticking with you on that point, Christian, let's go to the next. Wow, we got to see one of the most torturous suit ups Vader has ever done in live action. What did you think of this, and what was going on in your headspace, brother?
Yeah, I mean, like we were discussing earlier, it looked even more painful than we thought it was. It was a lot more in depth. I didn't feel like it took too long. I was a little bit concerned that when we actually saw this sequence, it would be protracted. But I quite enjoyed it, and the way that it was also intercut. It all felt quite appropriate. You know, Kenobi seems to perpetually being preparing himself, and this is a very physical sense of Darth Vader preparing, or Anakin preparing himself to be Darth Vader. So, yeah.
That's a good point, because here we go with the contrasts again. Ben is meditating; it's all internal and mind, and Vader it's all external, physical, putting on the suit to become who he is. That's a good point, Christian. Thank you, Bailey. Wow, what did you think when you saw this?
It was really cool to see in live action, and I just love how smooth everything looks. It's great, and it really does. I'm glad that we kind of see like being Vader was painful, and so I am glad to see that. Yeah, what he has to go through, his maintenance is incredibly painful. So I thought that was great. And what's interesting is like the helmet, how we see the helmet go together is completely different than how we see it in 3 and how Luke takes it off in 6. So that's interesting too.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that, because when they put him together in 3, he's already got the dome piece on and they just clip the mask into place, whereas this time they seem to be a whole piece. So they keep changing his suit a little bit, which is cool.
Well, I wonder if that's insinuating that there's some degeneration going on over time.
Who knows, right? All I know is I thought that was really cool to see, like that small little thing like that, it's kind of decent. I love Joe Big Skywalker. That's how the Vader Lego minifigures puts its helmet on. That's a good point. Oh, man. Bailey, let's stick with you. You know me, I get a kick out of anything when they refer back to Rogue One. And when I saw this, I told you guys earlier, I did like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme. I was like, oh, what did you think of this, Bailey?
I love it. And just one thing I want to say about this show in general is the scale of these settings and these sets are incredible. We'll get to it later, but I love like the Inquisitor Fortress. This looks beautiful. The Mustafar Castle looks beautiful. It's just so well done and just absolutely immersive. And kudos to them. This looks fantastic.
It really does. Christian, I know you're a Rogue One nerd also. What'd you think, brother?
Just epic, isn't it? I mean, what Rogue One did was it reinstalled the fear factor of Darth Vader for a younger generation. So I watched the original trilogy before I saw the prequels. Try and get this right. And Darth Vader was quite an intimidating and frightening character. But I feel like people going into it today, looking at those films, don't perhaps sense that so much from that original trilogy. Rogue One reinstalled that fear, and this episode specifically gave us the Darth Vader that we were literally all talking about 2 weeks ago. This is the Darth Vader we wanted.
Exactly. And man, are we going to get into that later for sure. But I would be remiss if I didn't point out one of our best friends here on the channel. There's Shanti.
Hi, Shanti.
Hi, Shanti.
Man. And you know what? I think it was Jonathan. Yeah, Jonathan made a good point. The ESB helmet, when General Veers is standing behind him, seems to be lowered with the faceplate on as well. So I guess by the time of Empire Strikes Back, or at least, well, this is before Empire Strikes Back, they had attached the faceplate or something. But maybe it comes apart different ways, depending. Who knows? But yeah, someone said earlier, Paul would be all about the bucket. Yeah, I'm the helmet guy. So, Oh, yeah. It's funny you should have mentioned that. Because look at that, Matt. That's where we're going next. Bailey, let's stick with you, ma'am. I want to see. You probably did, but I noticed that depending on who's talking to who, the size of the holograms changes a little bit here. Are you noticing that? What did you think of this scene, and kind of give me your thoughts on what's going on?
I kind of saw this coming a mile away. I figured Reva was, communicating with Vader closely, just based on like the promo shots that we've seen. Like those two are typically photographed together, so I just assumed that she was communicating with him directly, and this was confirmation of that. And it makes me wonder, it seems like Vader's kind of going on his own agenda right now, not necessarily, maybe what he should be doing, which is pretty typical if you keep up with the Vader comics. He has his own personal agenda, and Reva seems to have her own agenda. So I find their dynamic interesting as they both have very different desires, yet they're kind of working towards capturing Obi-Wan. So yeah, this was no surprise to me at all. The only thing that was interesting is what he says is like, I've been watching you closely, and if you succeed, you'll become the next Grand Inquisitor. So like that's still kind of up in the air. Like, okay, is this guy really dead? Because anyone who's watched Rebels know that the Grand Inquisitor is alive. So that was interesting to me. And another thing that was interesting is her reaction to that. Didn't seem like that's what she really wants. So yeah, I found this very interesting. We're still kind of like, is this Grand Inquisitor dead? Is this what she really wants? What is Vader up to? So yeah, I thought this interaction was interesting. I do like their dynamic because I feel like you're talking to two people that are on their completely different paths, yet they're working towards the same goal. So yeah, it's interesting. A lot of going on here.
Yeah, no doubt. And Christian, before I go over to you, I think last episode I was trying to decide if the character was driving me crazy or the actress. And this time, clearly the actress, she's doing a good job, because we got a lot more nuance from her this time. She's using her facial expressions much more appropriately. And I'm a much bigger fan of the character of Reva this time than I was. I liked her last time, don't get me wrong. It just seemed a little overdone. This time, though, she's nice. She gives you cold chills. She's menacing because you can see in her eyes, I'm finna take all of this if I get a chance. You know what I'm saying? She's just going to laser through everybody. But so much better performance from the character this time, better writing, or they gave her a different spot. But anyway, Christian, I love all the scenes that we get here in the Obsidian Palace. What are you thinking of this, and what's going through your head?
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple of things. Something that I forgot to mention on the previous one was the fact that one of the last things that Kenobi says is he's coming, Master, when he's talking to when he's trying to communicate with Qui-Gon, and he legitimately sounds terrified when he says that, and I thought that was a really interesting line for him to deliver, because up until now he's come across to me as someone that's literally just been playing the waiting game, whereas at this point he literally sounded like a scared little boy calling out to his dad, which I thought was well delivered, because he came across as terrified. But yeah, sort of switching forward, I agree with you. This episode, my appreciation for Reva has increased, because I think that some of the conflict that I was feeling in the first and second episode, I think, is her as an actress, her intention to sort of show this. I don't even know how to articulate it, but I think that there's interesting storylines going on here that I'll talk about a little bit more later on, or maybe is quite obvious. But yeah, basically, I think, as Bailey just said, Vader has his own intentions, which is quite literally he just wants to get hold of Kenobi. He doesn't care about anything else. That's clearly not what the Emperor cares about at this stage, but that isn't mentioned in any way, shape, or form. Ultimately, it's not what the Empire care about either, but Vader is using everybody to his ends. Mm-hmm. The Inquisitors clearly don't care about Kenobi. They're talking sort of from an overall point of view. They're looking for all of the Jedi. They've even been told to forget about Kenobi. Who's told them that? And then we've got this one Inquisitor, Reva, who is also hell-bent on Kenobi and is going behind the back of the Empire and the Inquisitors, which makes me think, is she also going behind the back of Vader? So I do think we've got quite a few different storylines going on here, and I do think that it's all going to culminate in some sort of fantastical way. But yeah, I'm excited and talking a lot.
No, thank you. Yeah, please. You're doing so good. Bailey, remember, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about.
Always. That's what they all
Always.
say.
Everyone. Yeah. Christian, you're doing great. I love to hear your insight. That's why we like to rotate the thirds on here. So it's not just me and Bailey saying the same thing over again. So thank you. And you really I kind of felt that, but you really brought it into sharp focus. There's a lot of strings and irons in the fire going on this series. And the more I think about it now, I might go back down and watch it again with this newfound understanding. That's really good. Those are good points, Christian. Before we move on, one of my channel members and the OG of the channel, Michael Hendrickson. It's good to see you. Just got off work. Hello, all. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Michael. Let's make sure we haven't missed any. Oh, boy. I got to get some help with this. That's all I need. Yeah, basically. All right, let's see here. Right. Yeah, Jonathan's got a good point. To be fair, Vader was one of the greatest villains for decades, and even though he only killed 4 people in the oath, because it was all in here. Same thing with Boba Fett. The difference is we're getting the Darth Vader we know we should have gotten, whereas Boba Fett turned out to be whatever it was they were trying to make him. So let's keep going down here just a little bit.
Paul, I don't know if it's on the stream itself, but you're quite zoomed in on my screen. I don't know if that's the case for everybody. I'm only seeing sort of the side of your face.
Oh, Bailey, do I look okay to you?
Yeah, everything looks normal.
Okay, because I'm looking at the monitor system plus my camera, so it must just be you, Christian.
Probably just me.
Yeah, you probably got an Irish camera that's not working properly. Just kidding, Connor. Oh boy, I couldn't wait to do that. Let's see. Oh, Shanti can't really say. I just want to say hi and hit the like button. Thank you so much. Great to see you again, Bailey. Exactly. Thanks, Shanti. Oh, let's come on down here. I want to make sure that we'll pay. Reva says Kenobi will pay for what he did to the Grand Inquisitor. They don't mention he's dead, so we'll talk about that really fast. First of all, I get a kick out of the fact that she's blaming his death on Kenobi. And then, as you mentioned, Christian and Bailey, I think you alluded to it, Darth Vader's like, I don't care about no Grand Inquisitor. We're going after Kenobi. There's a lot of supposition on the internet that the Grand Inquisitor, like so many other things in the trailer, was a bait and switch. We thought he was going to be the main villain the whole time. And because he shows up in Rebels later, they stabbed him in one of his 2 stomachs. Alan was right. So many people are talking about that, and got him out of the way so they could just concentrate on these guys. So I think that's what's happening. I think towards the end, we'll see him in a back to tank or something, Bailey, like you said, and then that'll be it. But I think he might be done for the series, frankly. So, yeah, there you go. Wizzy Wiz, Reba performed better writing this. There was more nuance to the character, Christian. I see you nodding your head.
100%, yeah. Also, just to comment on the whole Grand Inquisitor thing, what I took away from this was that Grand Inquisitor, and I might be completely wrong, so Bailey, feel free to shoot me down here. I feel like what I took from this was Grand Inquisitor as a title. So potentially, the Grand Inquisitor that we think is the Grand Inquisitor is potentially dead, as in Rupert Friend's character. And that means that title is now available, and potentially somebody else of a similar species, maybe even someone with a more elongated head, becomes the Grand Inquisitor.
I think that's the lesser of the 2 chances, but that is a chance. Yeah, it's the same guy or it's a different guy that looks a lot like him. Bailey, do you have thoughts on that?
I was thinking that too, that's a possibility. That it could have been just another, Palin that, takes over. But yeah, who knows? They retcon stuff all the time in this universe. I'm just like, we'll see what happens. Like,
Darth Maul got cut in half, and I'll just leave it at that. Okay, all right. Darth Maul got cut in half. Okay,
and
so
somehow Palpatine survived.
Thank you. Somehow Palpatine returned. Peter McKinnon, another one of my channel members. Hello, guys, and it's good. Okay. Oh, there you go. There. And Bailey. Sorry, yeah, he must have hit the return key by accident. So it's good to see you, Pete. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Oh, let's see. We're going to get on down here and then get moving again, guys. Well, yeah, it's jumping too far. Yeah, there you go. The mod guy will be fixing them up. No. Please no. Oh, my God. And then always, chat legend, Shabby, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's get on down here. I'll get lost in the comments forever. So, Bailey, so we're going back and forth here, which I like, by the way. They didn't do that in Book of Boba Fett. We got a whole episode of Mando or a whole episode of Boba, whereas I forgot who it was. Said it was Josh. They could have wiped back and forth, or maybe even Pete said it. And we're getting that here, which is nice. Updates on both. We go back to the ship, and the little girl whose name I don't know, who is playing Leia, is just, wow, she's knocking it out of the park. And then Ewan describes the Force to her. Bailey, can you kind of tell us what some of those lines were and what you think of this interaction and how she's doing?
I absolutely loved this line. So Leia is just, she's seen Obi-Wan in meditation and she's asking about the Force, like, what does it feel like? And Obi-Wan is like, well, you know what it feels like to turn a light on in the dark. That's exactly what the Force feels like. It's turning on the light in the dark, and how does that make you feel? It makes you feel safe. So that was kind of like so much is said and so little. And I have to say, whoever is writing this show, wonderful job. They are doing a beautiful job with, like, every line means something in this show, and that's what I absolutely love. And I just love this interpretation of the Force, and I thought it was really nice. And I feel like these conversations with Leia is kind of forcing Obi-Wan to kind of like open up his heart a little bit more and more, like getting him to tap into that part of himself again. So I think this is like therapeutic, this time with Leia. Leia's kind of challenging him to like, well, what does it feel like, and it's causing him to answer these questions. So I thought this whole scene was fantastic, and little Leia is just, she's great. She's wonderful.
I think they could not have cast a better actress, in my opinion. Christian, where are you at when you see this scene? What did you think of this?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that child actors make or break a show very easily, and she's fantastic. She really is. I still get a kick out of the fact that we were expecting this to be all about Luke, and it's not at all. It's all about Leia at the moment, at least. She's a great actress. I love the sass. I love the attitude. I think in pretty much most Star Wars forms of media, we get an explanation of what the Force is. And sometimes it feels a little bit like, oh, here we go again. But this was really nice. It was kind of beautiful, and it felt sort of legit, It was a couple of sentences that felt really relatable. They were simple. They felt like they would be directed at a young child, and she completely got it. And I thought it was just, great filmmaking.
And I'm guessing they might have done that for a lot of us, infantile fans, or those of us that aren't super fans too, because that's the first time I got it. I'm like, that makes perfect sense to my simple ass. Okay, good. It's like turning on a light. I like it. Sorry. Bailey, I have a question for you. How come every time we see Obi-Wan Kenobi traveling, he's smuggling himself somewhere?
Because that's just what Obi-Wan is there for. It's for smuggling. He's like a Swiss Army knife.
Oh my goodness! It started off in Phantom Menace on the droid ships. It travels through Revenge of the Sith on Padme's ship. He's in Han Solo's cargo hold. This poor guy smuggles himself everywhere. He gets some registered transport, brother. Oh man. And Christian, we talked about this just a really quick kick. There's like an R5D4-ish type droid in the back of the scene, which I thought was really
it's
cool.
Nice. They're definitely taking the time to put in a few bits and pieces here to please everybody, which is nice. I appreciate the effort.
Yes. First of all, there's Steve-O. Steve-O, it's good to see you. Every line means something. You nailed it, Bailey. The dialogue in the show is on another level, way beyond typical Star Wars. Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. First of all, Bailey, you're brilliant. Second of all, love me some George Lucas. Not talking bad about the founder, but some of his dialogue, you're like, oh, even Luke and Mark Hamill talks about it way back in the 70s. Like, we're not saying that in the movie. So whoever's writing for this show, Bailey, you nailed it. They're doing such a good job. So, JT, if this is Book of Boba Fett, what would the Force feel like? It's like riding a bantha. Oh. Yeah, I know. If they had done that, I would have just canceled my Disney Plus. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a very good point, Unit fam. Let's see here. Michael, seems Ben need to get over his PTSD. Looks like he is better understanding of Leah's fighting skills. Nothing like, but yeah. And we'll get to that. And Bailey, you made a good point. I didn't think about it that way, but he was going to stay shut off for the rest of his life. But Leia is slowly pulling him back out. Be the man you were. She asked him, can't you just use the Force? What does it feel like? Why are you so mean to people? You got to trust people again. This 10-year-old kid's wiser than I am, for God's sakes. I love it. So
it's almost like, it's like the ghost of like Padme or maybe Anakin, like through Leia a little bit, the way Leia is kind of forcing Obi-Wan to come out, and he keeps saying, like, God, you remind me of your mom. It's kind of like that a little bit.
Yes. Very, very true. Yeah. No wonder Kenobi hates fire. This is why I hate fire. He's always traveling in his luggage. So I try not to beat this to death, but I just, the dynamic between these two, Christian, when we're walking, through the Joshua tree forest in Southern California. I mean, I'm sorry, whatever planet this was here. She's asking him little questions that I think are very indicative of the character, and he snaps at her at one point. What did you think of that, and what's going through your head as you're seeing this, Christian?
Yeah, I think it's nice because they are challenging one another. He's coming out with she is perpetually asking questions the way that children do, especially 10-year-old children. And I think Bailey's right. Potentially, she is unknowingly using the Force here because she is incredibly articulate for a 10-year-old. And it is challenging Ben, but he is also installing a lot of wisdom in her. So it's kind of nice. And shots like this are so brilliant because, in my opinion, she still looks like a little princess there. Her hair's still beautiful and all the rest of it. She's in this like green, even though she's supposed to look a little bit tatty at this stage because they're in disguise. Right. And he obviously looks, like he's been homeless for 10 years, which
kind of has, yeah.
And yeah, there's so many parallels. I mean, I can't remember the name of the film, but whilst we were talking earlier, it made me think of a Clint Eastwood film where you've got what's his name from Prince of Thieves, Kevin Costner. He breaks out and he's with a little boy who wears a Casper mask. And he basically abducts this child. I cannot remember the film, which is terrible. Hopefully someone will remember in the chat.
I know which one you're talking about, but I can't think of the name either. Yeah, he's a bank robber like in the 60s or something. Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and he basically abducts this child and he's intending to hold him to ransom. And the dialogue and the conversations they're having between them, they become friends. And the way that they challenge one another's perspective on the world, this child's perspective of the world versus, this criminal's perspective of the world. And I was just getting that sort of vibe from it.
Agree. Bailey, specifically because I know the Space Wizards are your jam and Kenobi's one of your favorites. It seemed perfectly appropriate for where we're at, but still out of character for what we've seen from Kenobi in the past. It fits here. But when he snaps at her, I was a little taken aback. What did you think of that, and how did that make you feel?
I wasn't surprised at all. Like, guys, with post-traumatic stress, sometimes people are going to snap. So to me, this is a very authentic and genuine look of what it can be like. When someone's like pushing for you to answer stuff, you might snap sometimes. And like what he says isn't wrong. I mean, it's not, not all people are nice. I mean, that's the real world. So to me, I wasn't shocked or anything. Obi-Wan's reactions and dialogue makes sense to me. That is someone who is gone through a lot and he also has a lot on his mind. Like he's like, I gotta take this kid to safety. I don't know where I'm at. Like there's a lot going on, and you just have this kid that's just asking you over and over questions, and it's just like I'm in the middle of something. Like to me, it's like you see that with parents. Like parents who are trying to like go to the grocery store and like do what they need to do or pay bills or something, and their kid is just going like this. And as a teacher, I experienced this too. I'm trying to get something done, and you're like bothering me at that. Like like. To me, this is a very normal human thing to say, and he's got a lot going on. So, no, I think this is great. I would be concerned if Obi-Wan's like, "Whoa, Leia," I guess it's So, no, I don't get it. People being like, "Oh, what's going on here?" Because it's like this is an honest look of a guy who's got a lot going on and he's seen a lot. So, yeah, he's gonna snap sometimes.
And absolutely, unless we forget. He didn't want to leave to begin with, and Luke is 400 planet systems that way, unprotected right now. And he's probably got that in the back of his head too, huh? Bailey, let's stick with you.
Okay. Yep.
What we got here, girl?
That's Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
As Anakin. Yeah.
And he's obviously, it's kind of like, and I hate to bring up the sequels, but we're going to. Is this what Kylo did when he saw his father? Is this some sort of like force hallucination type thing? Or is he just imagining because they haven't eaten or drank in a while? What are you getting out of this, Bailey?
I think this is, again, just a little bit of that PTSD coming out, or maybe it's the force. It could be like he knows he's going to see Vader soon. He knows he's going to confront Anakin. The way Christian was saying earlier that he's telling Qui-Gon, like, he is coming, and he is terrified. Like, he knows they're going to meet. And this is just like a foreshadowing, like, yep, it's coming. Like, this is kind of like a sign, like, it's going to happen. So I think it was a little bit of that. It could have been, either something with the Force, it could be his PTSD, it could be many things. But yeah, I think that is a Vader's coming. It's
Agree.
cementing that.
And that's basically the gist. We're getting Vader soon. Here's a little foreshadowing. Is that what you're getting?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. Christian, what was going through your head when you saw this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was the shot immediately prior to this. So they had that suspenseful music. Sorry, it actually in the actual production itself, the shot immediately prior to this, there was a sort of wavy freehand camera that was sort of coming at Obi-Wan, and it was really emphasizing with the suspenseful music the fact that he was struggling with something, and then obviously you see this. And I thought this was a brave move because it's very stylized filmmaking. I don't think we've seen that type of thing in Star Wars before, where they're using a handheld camera in that sort of a fashion. Yeah. And I think it worked really well. It immediately made me think of Luke on Dagobah. I couldn't remember the location. Is it like the Cave of Wonders, or is that Aladdin? Where he sees himself as Vader. That sort of dreamlike quality. But yeah, it really worked, and it really helped reinforce us get back into Kenobi's headspace. Here he is dealing with Leia, but this is also what's going on in his head.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was, Bailey, you said it last time. Get to the point. Get to the point. And it doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like I'm getting anything jammed down my throat. But man, we're making lots of points with just a little bit of effort. And I don't understand why this is so easy in all the other shows we've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Kristen, I'd like to stick with you then this time on this one, because although Bailey, I know you appreciate this, but this is Kristen and I's jam right here, baby. Check. Oh, I got the TIE fighters and shit. What did you think of this base, man? This is cool.
I mean, I was excited because this is a location, doesn't mean all that much. I think I might have seen it in Rebels potentially, but I knew this was something to do with the Inquisitors. And yeah, when I saw all of the Imperial equipment on there, all the ships, the TIE fighters hanging up, they've got the landing ship. I can't remember what it's called. They've got all of this stuff going on, and yeah, it was just exciting. I think the way they translated this from animated content to live action, it's fantastic, and it looks great.
It looks well. I agree with you. I was just giddy when we got to this part because I remember seeing it in the trailer. Matt makes a good point. Bailey, you've played the game. Did they pay homage properly to your location?
Yes. I actually never played the game, but I've seen all the
I'm sorry.
You can look that up. Fallen Order is very much like a movie. You can watch the whole thing. But yes, I was just like, wow, like they really translated that very well into live action. And just again, the scale. Yes, the scale of this world is incredible. It's beautiful. It's very immersive. Just well done. A beautiful job. And I can't recommend that Fallen Order enough. There are so many homages to this in this show that it's beautiful. So yeah, they did a really good job bringing it to life.
Absolutely. Christian, I see you up there nodding your head. What do you got when you see this, man?
Yeah, I mean, first off, just looking at this shot, I mean, how epic is that? With all the pillars, it reminds me of Rome, effectively, which obviously a lot of the Empire, there's so many themes of Rome running through it. But it looks biblical in essence. But for me, this shot here, this was the moment that I started to pay attention to Reva, because the music, go back and listen to the music. As soon, like when it kicks into her walking through here, it really ramps up, and I was really paying attention to her, and the way that everybody is stopping and saluting, it gives this character so much more weight that she didn't have in those first two episodes. And this is what I'm saying about how my opinion is changing.
Yes, wholeheartedly. They did a much better job of making her sinister instead of comical.
Yes,
is the way I would put it. Yeah, and I've listened to it a bunch of times, and I've read it, and I've seen some YouTube videos. Each one of their themes is based on another theme. With John Williams just took certain notes out. So this is the Imperial March where he took certain notes out. Obi-Wan's theme is like the Force theme, where he's just removing certain notes to leave you feel wanting, as if there's something missing there, and it's working. It is working. Oh, let's see what we got here. because they hit all the points so brilliantly. Deborah Chow is the showrunner. I probably spelled her name. Who cares? Yeah, Deborah Chow. Let's just give her all the rest of this stuff, for God's sakes, you guys. What do you think, Bailey?
Oh, she's brilliant. Yeah, good job.
JT, why are those rooms so tall? Imagine having to take a broken light bulb. Yeah, well, they're that tall because they're beautiful. It's just beautiful. But yeah, I got a brilliant sense of who she was and what's going on. And the contrast we're about to talk about, Bailey, I'm going to you next, was brilliant, because in 1 minute she's like, I am the king of the hill here. And the next minute, Bailey?
Yeah, she's like being kind of teased and bullied by her coworkers. Again, the Inquisitors as a team are very there's something. But I think this is very this is just how the dark side is. This is how the Sith function. Everyone's in it for themselves, and right now they're kind of fighting over they all want to be that Grand Inquisitor, or more specifically, the fifth brother wants that. We're not entirely sure about Reva, because I'm on the fence that that's not what she truly wants, even though she's allegedly up for grabs for that. But they're bickering over that, and the fifth brother, and she's basically saying, "Oh, we need to send these probe droids. I know exactly where Obi-Wan is," and he's just like, "Shut up! You don't know what you're talking about." And she's like, "No, I've spoken to the boss. I've spoken to Vader himself, and this is what he wants." And there's that kind of office dynamic going on here.
Office dynamic, yeah.
That's literally what it is. These Inquisitors are very amusing. When it's comes to them together.
It's like when Sarah comes home and it's been a rough night and she's being all dramatic and she's like, so and so is trying to destroy me. That's actually what's going on in this office. They're actually trying to destroy each other. So Christian, I love the dynamic between the Inquisitors, because you really get a sense, and we've heard about it, but you really get a sense of how much they're all in it for themselves, like Bailey said. What do you think about what's going on here, and what you take away from it?
Yeah, so she storms into here. Obviously, this is directly after she's just walked through that huge area, and she storms in here and she just starts barking orders, and I'm listening to her. Do you know what I mean? I'm sat there paying attention all of a sudden, and even in this shot, she has totally lost control of herself because the other Inquisitor has forced her down. But look at that facial expression. She really has come into her own in this episode. She is terrifying. And I mean, in this sequence, obviously, it's all about this power struggle between the Inquisitors. I honestly don't think she cares at all about the Inquisitors. That's the impression that I'm getting. And also, at the very end of this scene, there's that line where the other brother he turns around and he says you're going to get what you deserve or something, and she says, I hope so, I truly hope so, or I really hope so, one or the other. And again, the way she delivers that line, she's not talking about wanting to be the Grand Inquisitor. She couldn't care less. She's talking about other things going on here, and that's what I'm interested in all of a sudden.
Yes, they really turned her into the arbiter of the subplot. And I think I think she's positioning herself to put herself in a place, Bailey, like you mentioned, where maybe she's trying to kill Darth Vader because she's mad at him and doesn't care what it takes to get there. So much better with the Reva character this time. Christian, I'm going to stick with you because you're my sets and decoration guy. Bailey loves that stuff, but she really doesn't pay attention as long as the story's good. Wow, there's whales floating by and stuff. Christian, what'd you get, man?
Yeah, I love this. I mean, the actual location, as far as Star Wars is concerned, doesn't mean that much to me. Obviously, I only know about it because Bailey's just spoken about how this was in a game. But from a bad guy lair vibe, I mean, it can't get any better, can it? Undersea, huge, dangerous creatures swimming around. We've got red lights, black everywhere. Great.
I expected Dr. Evil to bust in at one point and go, It was so cool. Bailey, is this overdone, or do you like the whole overall thing though?
No, it's fantastic. I'm just gonna, everything Christian just said, ditto. Yeah.
Ditto. There you go, Christian. That's the highest form of flattery coming from Bailey. Ditto. I don't need to say anything more, Christian.
I might record this. Keep
okay. Get some clips and put them in some of your videos. Yeah, I can't wait till you start making videos again. Those are going to be funny. Bailey, I get a kick out of the different characters, and this show has done a very good job of putting in a little bit of levity, but having it be applicable.
Yes.
Tell me what you thought of this guy.
I thought this was again kind of an amusing but sad, like this is definitely someone who's a little on the simple-minded side, like, oh yeah, Empire's great, yeah, like when join the order, and it's like he's not someone so that's another thing I really like about this episode is we see a lot of perspectives on people's thoughts on the Empire, and we'll get into another one shortly, but this was definitely like a simpleton view of the Empire, like, oh, they haven't done anything wrong to me, so yeah, why not? Like,
yeah, he's kind of he has like the everyman's average opinion. Hey, you gotta like the order or pay your taxes and stuff like that.
Yep.
Christian, what did you think of this guy?
I loved him. There seems to be some sort of a parallel between Star Wars and Wind of the Willows at the moment. We've got frog people, we've got mole people. But yeah, I love the physical, the tangibility of his character. I know that it affects some of the articulations, the face and everything, but I love it like that. It's so Star Wars, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I look at all the credits, which we'll talk about a reason for in just a second here. I didn't see Seth Rogen in there, but now that Mark Shabby Geek mentions it, he did kind of sound like Seth Rogen, didn't he?
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
That's right. It's Zach Braff. Rick is right. It is Zach Braff, the guy from Scrubs.
Yes,
that's who it is. The sitcom actor. That's right. Good catch. I forgot about that. That's right. But I love he did such a good job. You know, you gotta love the order. And then immediately Kenobi turns the corner and there's the Imperial crest and you're brought right back into it. It's frightening. Christian, let's start off with you. I love the juxtaposition of roles here. Talk about what's going on and what you thought of this, man.
I mean, he literally behaves like a rabbit in headlights, doesn't he? He's sort of like, and she's just like, "Hi, this is my dad, and we need to get here." And and then even when he sort of turns around, and he says, "We just need directions," and he's like, she sort of says, "We've walked enough. Let's get on." He just walks off, and he sort of lets there like almost like a cartoon character. Sort of like, okay.
Okay. I guess I'll get on. Yeah. Bailey, look at the facial expression I managed to capture here. I mean, this sums it all up. I mean, what do you think about the dynamic here?
I have to say, Paul, I feel like this would be you and I. in a similar situation where you'd be like, I won't say anything. And I'm like, I'm going to say something.
Bailey, this is a political moment. Just be quiet. Okay, so this is Paul, and we have a channel in Star Wars. And yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah, and she goes, "We love the Empire." Oh, I love it. I got 2 words, you guys. 2 words to describe this character. You ready? Princess Leia. Am I wrong?
No.
She's nailing it. She's nailing it. Yeah. I mean, come on. One of the most tense moments in the show. And, you know, I got a kick out of this. We're looking for Jedi. Oh, wow.
And I think they say like we always get them or something. Like, oh, they never get past us. And it's like...
He's even kind of looks like a Jedi. He's even kind of robed up and everything. And they're like, we got this, you know? Oh, my God. I just wanted to stop on that very briefly because this is the part of this I wanted. By the way, Christian, Stormtroopers. I love it. Practical costumes. Love it, baby. Bailey, I'd like to go back to you, ma'am. This was one of the hardest parts of this to watch for me. They're doing a really good job of adding some emotion into this. Will you please tell me what they're talking about here and tell me what you got out of this?
So yeah, this was definitely one of my favorite moments from this episode. But Leia is basically so prior to this, Obi-Wan mentioned something about made another like mother comment, like, you know, you remind me of your mom, and Leia saying, "Oh, you knew my real mom then," and then she asked, "Are you my dad?" Which hits really hard considering we just saw Anakin, you know, just like seconds before, and we know Anakin is eventually coming, and then he's like, "No," so yeah, that hit really hard. Just knowing like, yeah, I know who your dad is. Yeah, so this is Leia asking about her birth parents and assuming that Obi-Wan is her father, which is why he's so like kind of weird with her. But no, Obi-Wan had to quickly explain like, no, I'm not your dad. And then another thing that was interesting here is that Leia is like, she's very curious about her birth parents, and Obi-Wan, we get a little bit of background with him. It's like, oh, I know how that feels. Like, I have snippets of my birth family, but like you, I thought I had a new family with the Jedi Order. So like they're bonding over that shared bit about themselves. They went to a new family who they love, but they are sometimes curious about where they come from.
Christian, there's an Obi-2 Kenobi out there somewhere, brother. What'd you get out of this scene and what we learned?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, as far as sort of costume design is concerned, in all seriousness, if you put a rebel helmet on that little girl and glanced, she's wearing a poncho, that looked like Leia.
Yes.
Yeah. This whole scene, it was funny because initially, if I'm honest, I've watched this episode twice. I actually watched all the first 3 episodes back with my missus because she only really likes Mandalorian, and I'm pretty sure that's only because of Grogu. But I told her, you're going to enjoy this, and we watched the first 3 episodes together, and yeah, she's loving it. And this scene, I was really heavily critiquing it in my head. I was like, these stormtroopers, surely they've got an image of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, how can they not know who this is? And the line where he calls her Leia and then covers it up, oh, that's not. And then, I watched it the second time. I was like, what am I even doing picking this apart like that? This is a really beautiful moment. Yes, it's sort of, stormtroopers are stupid at the end of the day. And it was a really nice moment to see them discussing this. And obviously, massive sort of eye-opener that he has a brother. He has these flashbacks of his family. I know I keep talking about the sequel trilogy, but it reminded me of the flashes that we see of Rey and her memories. Now, I know that all kind of got very muddy later on in the films, but in Force Awakens, we had those flashes of her memories. And when Obi-Wan was talking about it, that reminded me of kind of how that was shown physically. The only criticism that I will have of this scene is how short was that journey for the stormtroopers? How lazy are they?
He goes, it's a long trip, and they get off the thing 30 seconds later. I was like, just walk, guys. Yeah, you can see the base from where he picked them up, for God's sakes. Yeah, I'm assuming there was a time jump in there to get the retcon out of my head, Christian, because I'm like, oh, we done so they were in the front yard of their base. Okay, got it. Yeah. Unit fam. Comparison with Family of the Jedi was pretty sweet, especially coming to Leia being adopted by Bail and Bria. Yeah. I just, we could just keep beating this to death, and we probably will. The writing, the way they're connecting everything. We're going from levity to terror to tugging at your heartstrings. It's just so much better, you guys. And I hate to compare it to Book of Boba Fett, but thank God, because if this had sucked, first of all, I was going to have to commit Bailey, and then I was going to have to kill my Disney Plus subscription. So, so we'll get to that in a second. But did you hear there's 2 female stormtroopers we hear? Mm-hmm. Yep. The second set that comes up, which we'll get to, and then there's a female stormtrooper that walks into the droid thing. So as you guys know, at least once an episode, we have to fanboy out. This is my buddy Artisher, and he got a speaking role this time. The guy that asks him, hey, who are these? That's Artisher Radpour. I didn't put the pictures up, but as a side note, if you were at Celebration and you saw the formation of 5 First Order stormtroopers, Artisher was the one in the black pauldron. So you were that close to somebody who's been in Star Wars if you saw it. But I get a kick out of this. This guy over here turns out to be, he's like, I got some people you might want to check out, Yeah. Because he's just a good Imperial citizen, I mean? He just wants order. He's like, just get some, you better check them out. So, and then Bailey, I wanted to start off with this. First of all, Christian, probe droid. Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah. Once again, and this is Artisher down here, the one that's about to lose his life very quickly. But Bailey, Obi-Wan, we talked about this last episode. Obi-Wan is having a fight like for all intents and purposes, a thug. What do you think of what's going on here, how they're getting it done, and how did it make you feel?
Again, I think this is a very natural progression. Like, yeah, here's the thing, and we'll get into this later. But Obi-Wan has been out of it for a very long time, unlike Vader. Vader has never stopped being where he was on Mustafar. If anything, he's gotten more powerful. Where with Obi-Wan, it's like the slow, it's kind of like riding a bike again after, So, but you're seeing that progression a little bit with this fight scene. Is like now he's getting quicker. Now he's like, like in the beginning it was like a clear like, well, God, that hurt. But now he's starting to move a little faster. And also there's this pressure, like I have this little girl right here. So that pressure of having Leia there and that she needs to be okay is like forcing him again. Having Leia around is kind of therapeutic for him because it's forcing him to be who he was before. Like he cannot, maybe if he was by himself, it'd be a different story. Well, we got Luke to consider. Never mind, I take that back. But anyway, having the child there is forcing him to be who he was before. So we're seeing this progression of Obi-Wan getting back into his own again.
Agreed.
I thought it was great.
I loved it. Really quick, Christian, I'm going to go to you on this one. But so if Shabby Geek is Obi-Wan Kenobi, this is Obi-2 Kenobi, his twin brother, Manga Fang. Sai, it's good to see you. You're right. That art behind Christian is outstanding. I had no idea he had such talent. I might have to get him aside offline here and commission a piece or two. But I wanted to go to you on this one too, Christian, because, and I'm so proud of myself. I haven't called you Josh yet today, at least that I've caught. So sorry.
Doing well. Well.
Thank you, sir. What did you think of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Basically, and Bailey hit it. I was hoping you guys would go there on your own, but his fight skills are progressing as he realizes I got to be serious now.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, when he basically walks around and he says, get out of the vehicle or whatever he says, there's moments in sort of film and TV whereby you sort of work out, okay, how they're going to get out of this, and you sort of try and quickly make up how they're going to get around this. And when he gets off and they did that shot where he unclips his holster, I thought, here we go. And yeah, it was great to see him sort of kick in. And yeah, seeing the probe droid, I was really buzzing to see that. The only thing is, I watched it a couple of times and I couldn't hear the noise, that you get in Empire. I didn't hear that, and I really, really wanted to hear that, even if it was, just subtle. I didn't hear that, and I was gutted because it would have been so nice if they didn't drop that. Maybe it would have been a bit too much, but it would have been cool.
Was that a professional sound effect like you've done before?
Yeah, we may get copyrighted for that. I'm not gonna lie. That was how close it was.
I guess I won't be able to monetize this stream now. Damn. Christian, I like to do this to you guys. I know my brother doesn't like it when I do it. As you could tell last episode, he doesn't like it when I make correlations, but I'm gonna do it anyway. You have a brand new baby, so you know what it's like to have a young child. Maybe not 10. But when he takes her hostage and then she finally gets out, the look on her face tore my heart apart. What did you think when you saw this, man?
Yeah, it was well done, and again, her performance carries it. She looks terrified. He looks really concerned. And again, I was sort of trying to figure out how he's going to get around this. And I thought, is he going to shoot? Is he not? And as he lowered it, I thought, oh, this is it. They're going to get captured. They're going to have to go through a few more hoops. But he shoots him, and I was like, yes, it was brilliant. But yeah, once again, this little girl, she smashed it. I swear, we're going to see a lot of this actress, I think, in other shows. I mean, not just this show.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartely agree. I think this is going to skyrocket her career, kind of like that girl from Stranger Things. Bailey, what did you get out of this scene? I mean, I'll kill this little girl. I was like, I actually feel this.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I'm just gonna echo what you guys are saying. This little girl is just doing a fantastic job. I certainly, she definitely beats me in the acting department. I mean, she's wonderful. So yeah, I loved it. And again, I just love seeing Obi-Wan kind of like he's warming up to her too. Just at first he wasn't really interested, and that was always something. And that's why I love that we're delving into Obi-Wan and Leia more, because I don't know. I always got the impression that he's so hyper fixated on Luke that Leia's kind of like an afterthought. Like, oh yeah, she exists, but whatever. But this is he's showing that I care for this child too. So I love seeing that.
Absolutely. And it was so well. I'm just going to gush over this act. They're doing so because, as you said, Christian, kids can kill a show. They tell Hollywood actors don't act with kids and animals. And Ewan McGregor, kids and puppeted animals, the whole thing, and it's going great. We have a request, Christian. How does that noise go again? Well, left coast, Rick will help you. It's spelled like that.
Meh, 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 meh.
There you go. Thanks for playing along with me. I appreciate it. Yeah, and Rick points out, this is my friend, my father. Yeah, that was. I love that one. And then Sai, wait. No, it's not. Wasn't the Muppet song? No, no, that's na. Yeah, okay. Got to keep those separate there. Okay. do. Yeah. Da-na-na-na. Oh my God. Yeah. Shabby, good point. I thought Disney and kid actors. Oh no, but how wrong we all were. And I'm the bait and switch is off the chain. We're getting nothing about what I thought we were going to get. Bailey, I see you leaning forward there. Nothing. We thought we were going to get an entirely different show. We're getting this. Is that cool? Are you liking it?
Oh, I love it, because how many times did we say, like, can we please get off Tatooine, please? And like, please. And also, and there's a lot of discourse about this too, about having the focus be on Leia instead of Luke. But it's like Luke has a whole trilogy, about his what he becomes, and Leia is a part of it, but she's not the focus. So I'm enjoying this, and the sexism is rampant, unfortunately, right now. But it's whatever. I think it's fantastic, genius writing choice on their part.
I tell you, we mentioned this briefly before we got in here. I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. I'm just about sick of all the politics that go into this, and I'm just enjoying the show like a pure little 12-year-old kid. Christian, you got a smile on your face.
Yeah, I mean, exactly the same. I'm trying to enjoy Star Wars for how Star Wars is intended, and I'm loving it. Irrespective of your points of view on anything outside of Star Wars, let's keep it Star Wars. I'm loving it. And yeah, to pick up on what Bailey just said, what's this, the 4th or 5th world we've been on, and this is episode 3. It's great. It's great. We're seeing Star Wars.
Yes. Alan cracked me up because he's like, for those 2 episodes of Mando that were in the middle of Book of Boba Fett, he's like, we got to go with my cool uncle who actually goes places, you know what I mean, the rest of the time. And maybe Boba Fett being on Tatooine the whole time would have been better if Tatooine was more believable like it is in this show, but it just really threw me off. Anyway, I keep beating a dead horse. I'm sorry. Connor, and I know exactly that I know exactly what you mean by that. That's it. Star Wars can only be viewed from a child's perspective. Just enjoy it for the entertainment it is. If you don't like it, you can say so, but don't like it because you don't like it. Don't say you don't like it because you don't like whatever person's politics or something. And I'm just about sick of all of it. You know what I mean? So, and thank you, Sai. I agree with Paul. I'm listening in Rose. I'm loving this show. Mint, everybody. Yeah, absolutely. Just for God's sakes. I'm about to turn my Twitter and my Instagram off probably because I've just had enough of it. So, Rick's with you guys. Love all the new locations, Bailey. Absolutely. Yeah, JT, if we'd stayed on Tatooine, what we have done, watch Lakota Egghead for a new motor. That's oh my God. And Michael's with you guys too. Glad to see other planets. I can see why Anakin doesn't like sand, right? Yeah, no doubt. Oh my God. And everybody in the comments is pretty much with us. Can we just be Star Wars fans for an hour, once a week, for God's sakes? And it's nobody in here. I'm not getting any crap or seeing any crap from anybody in here. You guys are great. You two are great. Everybody in our little group. But the minute you step like a foot and a half out, even on Twitter or Instagram with people that you respect and like, it starts to seep in. And so I don't care. I've told you guys this 30 years in politics, fighting and scrapping with people over stuff. I'm tired and I'm done. I just want to be entertained and drink. So anyway, I got off topic. I said I wasn't going to bring it up, Christian. I apologize, but excellent points, everybody. Who's by Pete? Somebody. Oh, Pete had to go. Okay, Peter, thanks for stopping by, man. I greatly appreciate it. I give a little extra shout outs to my channel members, so I appreciate that. Good day, good stream, Bailey. Christian, stay safe, take care. Absolutely. I think he's in New Zealand, Christian. So I think it's, I don't know, Tuesday, June 6th over there or something right now. I don't even know what to. So yeah, Burns. Yeah, it does. It really does. Oh yeah. You can tell the show is great because the morons are the finish. And I'm talking about, there you go. And don't blame the actor, blame the writers. Yeah, that's why I was struggling last time. I'm like, is it the actors that I don't like, or is it the writing in this one, Christian? So much better. Yeah. All right, I'm done. Rant over. Bailey, there are caring, empathetic, sympathetic Imperials out there. Tell me what you thought.
I thought this was brilliant, and I want to know, it makes me want to know more about her, and I think this is a perspective we've never seen in Star Wars yet. She was originally all for the Empire, and that makes me, like in the beginning, if the Empire, maybe there was a draw, an allure to the Empire, and she quickly found out that, wait, no, this is like Nazi Germany, I don't want to be a part of this. I really, really loved her. She's great, and now she's like undercover, so she's not. I don't think she's exactly part of the rebellion. Like it seems like she still like works as an imperial officer because she still has the uniform, and stormtroopers obviously listen to her. But she's like smuggling people, like she's helping people get to safety. So I love that. Another brilliant bait and switch for us because we see her in the trailer and we see her coming up, and I'm like, oh, here we go, like they're screwed, and then she just shoots those stormtroopers, and she's like, yep, I'm the one that was supposed to pick you guys up. So I loved her. She was definitely an amazing part of this episode, and I'm thinking we're gonna see a little more of her, but she's great.
So, Christian, I'm going to ask you the same question, but before I just got to interject. I find this woman to be very attractive. Okay, and I'm just going to say that. So there, Christian. I think the character and the woman and the accent, beautiful. Loved her. Everything about her. Christian, go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think she's great. See, I know her from Luther. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen Luther. It's a BBC production. If you haven't seen it, please look it up. It's one of my favorite TV series. There's about 4 seasons of it. It's Idris Elba, and he is a British police officer or a detective, and this is his wife. It's a great series. I know I'm sidelining, but yeah, look it up. I think you guys will enjoy it.
Okay.
And yeah, she's a great actress or actor. And yeah, I mean, just prior to this, they had an aerial view. And it was brilliant because it obviously shows the truck. It shows the stormtroopers that Kenobi has taken out. And of course, we saw that stormtrooper get split in half, which was graphic. I think it was great because that sort of thing, it's kind of enough that it's not going to upset younger viewers, but it's enough to make people like me think, oh, this is gritty, this is good. Then you see that other vehicle coming into shot and you're just thinking, whoa, okay, how are they getting out of this mess? Obviously there are good guys in the Empire, and I thought that was quite nice because we seem to talk a lot about Dr. Evil, but obviously in Austin Powers there's a lot of sort of winding up the fact that the henchmen all know that they're bad guys, and their wives are at home and they know that their husbands are going off to be henchmen. It's quite nice that we see here somebody that it openly admits that they enlisted because they thought that the Empire was doing good. And then they realized that, as a consequence, she has decided that she is going to go against what the Empire stands for, and she's going to do everything she can to help the Jedi and the people that are being persecuted. Reading what Collectibles. I think she's a great character. Thoroughly enjoyed this.
So Bailey, JT is so empathetic to your plight here. Yeah. We all love her, but she's a woman. So Bailey,
I don't want her to. I'm so tired of women dying and good ones, for no reason. I hope she lives, JT, but I hear you. I'm not going to hold my breath on it either.
That's the theme of every one of these shows, Bailey. I asked you for a prediction and you say a woman's going to die.
And they always do.
You're right every damn time, girl. Oh, there's Tina. It's good to see you, man. Yeah, Star Wars cat lady. I love her thing there. That's awesome. So that's where we're going next. Actually, I'll put that up. This is actually, no, we're not going there just yet. Bailey, I'm going to stick with you because this is the cave of the Jedis, all that are left. And he says something here about keeping his eyes closed, and he mentions a character. Will you talk a little bit about what's going on in this scene and the backstory of that other Jedi and what he's talking about here, please?
Yeah, so Obi-Wan sees a quote in this, bunker, and he says, well, it's for Quinlan Vos. And for those who have never watched Clone Wars, he's in a little bit in Phantom Menace. He's kind of like a background Jedi, but he's in Clone Wars. He is, friendly with Obi-Wan. They were friends. If you ever read the Dark Disciple book, he is another Jedi that briefly turned to the dark side and worked with Dooku during Clone Wars, had a romantic relationship with Ventress, but his fate after Order 66, it's a book, A Dark Disciple. If you want to know more about Quinlan Vos, I definitely recommend that book. But he is a... I own it, Paul. I could just bring it over. You're 10 minutes away.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll do that. Yeah, sorry. All right. Go. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
But anyway, yeah. So he is a Jedi who went dark side, came back to the light. He was with Luminara on Kashyyyk during Order 66, and his fate was unknown. But now we see that he appears to be doing well, and he's running around and clearly made a stop at this bunker for some reason. And he left this quote about, when you close your eyes, you see more, which, again, so much is said with so little, because, it's poetic, because we started this episode with Obi-Wan, like, I'm trying to reach Qui-Gon. I'm trying to, like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And the part of the Jedi way is, like, when they're struggling like that, they kind of have to take a deep breath, take a step back, kind of confront your fears, confront your emotions, and kind of move past it to get your answer. And that's kind of like what Quinlan is saying, is only when you take a step back and, like, then you will see. So that's who he is. So Quinlan Voss is a Clone Wars reference if you want to know more about him. Dark Disciple book. So he is a friend of Obi-Wan's.
Tina, that's why I have her on here, girl. She keeps me and Christian on the straight and narrow. So because I don't know what the heck. I have the action figure, the yellow line across his nose, and that's as much as I know about him. So, Christian, so Bailey just kind of took us to school there. How much of that stuff did you know?
Nothing whatsoever. But when we saw this, I mean, first of all, I loved the fact that we saw all of the carvings and the graffiti on the walls and stuff, because it's very believable. We see that in real life so often. Whether it's at a bus stop or whatever, or even prisoners of war, they'll carve their names into things and all that sort of stuff. So it carried a lot of weight in this scene, and I knew that some of this stuff would be deep-seated in other material that is way over my head. And I love that about Star Wars. I love the fact that if I Googled the name that they're talking about, there is going to be pages and pages, books, essay, all sorts of stuff on the character. And I love that.
Agree. So if you're Bailey, you can enjoy this show at an entirely different level. And if you're me and you can have a drink and enjoy this show at an entirely different way. It's built for everybody. So well done. So well done. Christian, I'm going to stick with you because this is, I'm pretty sure, a uniquely American thing. We talked about it very briefly, and somebody's mentioned it in the comments, the Underground Railroad to get these Jedi out. Did you kind of get the reference what's going on here? I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. And what did you feel about what was going on?
You wouldn't, would you, Paul? You wouldn't insult my intelligence.
No, if I was going to do that, I would do it directly and obviously. So, yeah. But I never assume anything either. So, because I didn't know, Ireland and the UK. So we're just going to go.
No, I mean, if I'm honest with you, I was I didn't make the relationship between this and the slave trade. I was thinking more Great Escape, tunneling out of prisoner of war camps. That was where I was at. But yeah, this scene, I found it great. We learned so much. Again, it was a short, snappy scene, but we got to know so much more about this character and the life that she's been leading, her intentions, the amount of people that have already gone through it. I mean, this is a little cave in the back of a junk shop, and yet we appreciate that. So this is so important to the lives of so many people, and specifically they talk about younglings, which is quite emotive. We think about children being helped through here, and actually younglings. She talks about the fact that Inquisitors were looking for younglings that were even just Force sensitive, not necessarily Jedi. And I do wonder if we're going to have more of this coming up. Maybe we're going to see some of what happens with younglings that get taken. Maybe that'll be too dark, I don't know, but it does get mentioned a few times in a few of the episodes, with even at the start when we see the younglings with Order 66. There seems to be quite a sort of focus on this. I do think that Bailey was right with her initial statement that potentially Reva is one of those younglings at the start, and I think that we're potentially going to see more and more of that backstory. But yeah, basically, I enjoyed that. I thought the scene was great.
Bailey, what was your takeaway from this obvious allusion to the Underground Railroad, or as Christian said, the Great Escape?
I was just thinking, thank God, because what's brilliant about these episodes is the anxiety factor of how are they going to get out of this? How are they going to get out of this? Because at this point, the whole place is on lockdown. They are aware that Obi-Wan is, here and Vader is coming. So I was just like, oh my gosh, brilliant idea to not only have a bunker, but you have this whole underground system to get these people out. And honestly, I know my American history. I actually didn't make that connection either until you mentioned it. Where I'm like, oh, doy, like they did that. So I just thought, oh, thank God, there's a way out of this. And they're doing a brilliant job with the show, guys, with the twists and turns, and it's not predictable. I don't know what's gonna happen next. And then right when I think I know, they bait and switch on me. So brilliant. I was just like, thank goodness, there's a way out of this.
Nice. Bailey, I'm going to stick with you, and I'm not even going to ask a question.
Oh my God. This is what we were all waiting for. And I thought of your brother too, Paul, because that's what he was complaining about last time. If he wanted to see Vader, but here's Vader. And this was incredibly, and what was so brilliant is before we saw Vader, it was like Obi-Wan was about to go with Leia into the tunnel, and he just kind of stops. He's like, he feels something, and he immediately goes out of the bunker and sees what's going on, and you see this, and he is here, which again also hits hard considering how Leia was just asking about her dad not too long ago.
Oh, that's right.
There's dad right there. So then he's like, oh my God, telling Tala, I think that's how you pronounce it, to take Leia. Oh my God, just make sure she gets sold on. I got to do this because Vader is just killing people on purpose to lure him out. Because, who wouldn't? I mean, if you're a Jedi good person in general, how would that not get your attention? So he's just snapping necks, he's choking, he's forcing people out just to get him out. And Obi-Wan is just kind of quickly realizing, I have to face him now. This is it. This is happening now. I got to make sure the girl gets safely. And so the moment is coming, and it's just all right, we know they were going to confront each other. Here we go. But this was brilliant. Again, the suspense and anxiety in this show is so well done and brilliant. So we are about to see it seems like their first of multiple showdowns. So this was brilliant. I loved it.
Christian, I don't even have a question. Your turn, brother. Go.
Yeah. So the moment that Obi-Wan sort of held forward, it was like he'd been winded. It was like somebody literally punched him in the gut. And as soon as that happened, we all knew Vader is right around the corner. They did a great shot where they just showed the shadow, and you started to hear the breathing and all the rest of it. And initially, they just showed the Inquisitors, and I thought, okay, so this is just the Inquisitors, and all the rest of it. But then obviously Vader, and this scene was quite literally exactly what we'd all been crying out for. I mentioned it earlier. We were all talking about how we wanted to see Vader in the hallway from Rogue One. This was that and some. And I mean, when he's walking down there, he initially pulls that adult out of the father figure, out of the house, out through the window. And I don't think he even looks at the person. He's looking in the direction of Kenobi almost the entire time. And it's literally like, I'm not killing these people. You're killing them.
Yes.
And then the little boy runs out to try and defend the dad, and he literally just snaps his neck. I was sat there and I was like, I got goosebumps. I was like, whoa, okay, Disney just did that.
Yeah, right.
And so much respect for them doing that, because they have made Vader what we all have Vader in our heads as. And then if all of that's not enough, he starts to choke that woman and drag her along the floor whilst all the time he is looking towards Kenobi. And for a man in his position, can you imagine how that feels? You know, we got a tiny sense of that in that first or second episode when Reva was threatening Owen, and Kenobi was stood there, and you could see the conflict in him. Should I go out? Should I stay back? I need to protect Luke. And in this moment, he is witnessing multiple people actually being executed, and he could do something about this if he chose to. The only other thing I'll say before I shut up is the fact that we cut back to Reva, and her reaction is a reaction of fear. Now, I don't think that was fear out of intimidation. That looked like fear as in PTSD for herself, which makes me think that, again, Bailey was right. I think that she's experienced the other end of this previously.
Wow. So for me, you remember we talked about her walking through the base, and everybody stops and freezes because they're like, Yes, ma'am. You know, and then Vader walks in, and these guys put their hands in front of him and put their heads down. And these are, that's a really good example, especially the which brother is that, Bailey? The fifth brother? Yeah. With that deep voice and that scary face. But when Vader walks in, he demurs quickly. And that's, you get a really good idea of how terrified they are. But Christian, you make an excellent point. That's a good point. Now that I think about it, she's looking at that going, that happened to me. Huh.
Yeah. I thought the same too, Christian. I'm glad you brought it up. I was like, that is someone who is about to throw up because they're reminded of something. That's what I thought too.
That's a very good point. Very good point. So a lot of you guys in the comments are talking about the fight, and we're going to get there because I anticipate we might get some different opinions on that. But so we'll get there. No, yeah, Dino, you're not wrong. I'm not showing your comments because I don't want to jump the gun on this, but we're going to get into a huge discussion about the fight because I started one way and then changed my mind. So we'll get there though. And then, so yeah, exactly. And we're going to get to that too, but believe it or not, we don't actually see her do that for a little while. The next scene we get, Bailey, is this.
Yep. I was like, "Ooh, here we go." Like, we knew this was coming, but I have to say, and I've been seeing the comments and I've been seeing that, but this is exactly how I thought their first confrontation was going to go. Because it's like I said earlier, remember, Vader has never stopped using the Force or staying in practice. Okay, I think if anything, he's gotten more powerful as a result of his agony and pain from Mustafar. And then you have Obi-Wan, who has literally not picked up a lightsaber in years and is like just barely coming out of it. So him kind of struggling was not surprising to me. I mean, that makes sense. Like, that would be a total, like, I don't know, not believable. Somebody doesn't just, being a Jedi, wielding a lightsaber, it's a disciplined thing. It's no different than like if you haven't driven a car in 10 years, it might feel a little different to you. So I thought this was brilliant and very poetic. And here's the thing, Vader could definitely easily kill him right then and there, but I think Vader doesn't want that. Think about it. He's hated this man. He's had so much resentment for 10 years. He's going to drag this out as much as he can. Killing him would just be too easy. It's not as satisfying as he wants to terrorize Obi-Wan right now. He wants him to suffer. And he even said that, like, I want you to suffer. I think he's dragging this out on purpose. So Obi-Wan's running away, and Vader's just like, yeah, you can run, be terrified of me. Look what you've done. Like, he's literally like just slapping Obi-Wan upside the face, like, look what you've done to me. Look what you've done to me. You should have killed me when you had a chance. I could kill you instantly. And, eventually he, burns him, kind of like reciprocating what happened to him. Vader is terrorizing Obi-Wan right now. He wants to play with Obi-Wan. He wants him to suffer because he's getting more satisfaction out of that than just killing him right off the bat. So I think they're definitely going to meet again. But how this first interaction went is exactly what I expected. Obi-Wan's not going to fare well, but Vader is okay with that because Vader wants him to be scared of him. So yeah, that's my take on it. I know a lot of people were disappointed and were expecting like a Mustafar, with the flippy flip and all that, but this is realistic to me, and it's echoing what we'll see later in the future with him. It's very to the point, and I thought it was brilliant. This is a man who is terrified and he's facing the past, he's facing the result of his, mistakes. And Vader is playing with him, and he's enjoying it. And that's why he's taking it easy on him, per se.
Christian, follow that.
Sorry.
What do you got now, see?
Yeah. So the shot that you showed before this, when I was watching this, I do this a lot. I like to sort of picture other films. And for me, this sequence where Obi-Wan was sort of running, I couldn't help but think about Heat, where De Niro was running away from Pacino at the end. Around the airport. And the lightsabers are almost like the airport lights illuminating various sections. Like it really sort of felt that sort of that build up. You know that something's coming. It's just, when is it going to happen? I was really excited for this. Now, if I'm honest, I was hoping for an epic sort of
backflips, fighting. You know, like we saw at the start of the very first episode when Order 66 hit. Those lightsaber fights that we were witnessing there looked epic. But like Bailey just said, that's the Jedi at the top of their game, and literally that particular Jedi was training immediately prior to that. He hasn't even held a lightsaber until very, very recently for 10 years. So I totally got it. There were a lot of shots in this that I thought were really nice. There was a particular sequence whereby Ewan is holding the lightsaber, and you get a perspective, and it's obscuring his view because it's so dark. And I thought that was brilliant because I was literally sat there like, where is he? Where is he? Which is exactly the feeling that Kenobi is having at that moment. And yeah, obviously, he reluctantly lights up his lightsaber because he doesn't initially. He chooses to run, which took me back again to those first couple of episodes where I felt disappointed in Kenobi. You know, I want him to stand his ground and fight, but he has to do everything he can to not only get Vader away from Leia. Remember, he's trying to get him away from that safe house as far as possible. So the more he runs, the further they're moving away, because we don't know. Vader could sense Leia. He sensed Luke. He could sense Leia. So he is trying to lure him away. And I just when they came to fight, I wanted more, but I understood why what happened, and I did enjoy it. The only sort of real criticism I have is that I felt the music could have been more epic. I felt that the music was a little low for this sequence. You know, there were other scenes in this series where not much was going on. Like, for example, Reva walking through a hallway, and the music was epic, and it built up so much. Whereas when you watch this initial fight scene back, the music feels sort of like, oh, we need to chuck something in there. And I'm sure that's not what happened. I'm sure a lot of time and effort went into it. But if you watch it back, it feels disconnected. If somebody put other music over the top of this, I think it would have a better feeling.
I wonder if that's intentional. Like, maybe when they meet again, then the music's going to turn up. So maybe the music's going along with the whole, like, this is the beginning. I totally get what you're saying. I was thinking the same thing too. It's like, wow, you would think. But then I thought, again, it's like, well, maybe that's reflecting of what's going on. And when they meet again, that's when we'll get like our battle of heroes type.
Great point, yeah.
You know what, Christian, I knew it, but I didn't have, or I have it in my head, but that's a good point. And I 100% agree with Bailey. I think this fight was deliberately done like this because, first of all, Bailey said it makes sense. But second of all, it was to just leave us wanting music-wise, fight-wise, for the grand crescendo. Because as Dino put it, or somebody put it earlier, we're a little shocked to see Vader this early in the series. And I mean, even though it's only 6 episodes. So maybe I think they're building up to what Bailey said, that big crescendo at the end. It's going to be fun. We'll see. Yeah, Wizzy Wiz is with you on that one, 100%. But like Bailey, I agree with the both of you. I think it left us a little wanting, but I think they did it on purpose, Bailey. I think you're right. Let's see here. Did they think Vader could sense Leia? He tortured her in the original movies. But Bailey, you touched on this. Explain it again real fast.
Yeah, so it is described in some of the, like legends. I don't know if they delve too much into it, the canon, but Vader does feel something around Leia. He just can't pinpoint it. And I think a part of it is like, Leia allegedly looks so much like Padme, so that's kind of like a slap in the face to him. He can't really. It's not like with Luke where he can I know that's my kid. With Leia, it's a little difficult with him, so he probably does. And that's a good point, Christian. I didn't even think of that he probably senses, her around. But yeah, he does feel something around her. So I'm kind of hoping that we kind of see those two interact later, because in A New Hope, it does seem like they've met before. The way Leia spoke to him so easily, and he had his hands on his hips. I feel like they might have met before. So I'm hoping we see that soon and get that confirmation if he does feel something around her.
Yeah, and you've mentioned that before in past streams, Bailey, where now that we have all this information, we go back and we watch A New Hope, and she's basically standing there sassing her father the whole time, and that was awesome. So, yeah, no, Daddy, I'm not doing it. Bailey, I'd like to stick with you.
I love this.
Yeah, wow. Reva loses it when she sees this, which keeps adding credence to your theory. Talk a little bit about this for me.
I really like this because the thing what's so interesting about her, and I know I'm kind of like a broken record here, but she reminds me so much of another Inquisitor from the Fallen Order game, Trilla, who was the second sister. And the thing with the Inquisitors that's so interesting is like some of them are Inquisitors not because they wanted to, but they were kind of forced to. And her touching the symbol kind of tells me that she doesn't hate the Order. Like, she clearly does not have hatred. If she did, she would have ignored it completely. But her touching the emblem, the symbol that signifies who her family was before, her friends, her teachers, her culture, speaks volumes as to, like, did she really want this for herself? Does she want to be does she want out? Like, does she regret what she has done? Like, does she want to be a Jedi again, type thing? And we see this a lot in media with Jedi during this time. Like in Jedi Fallen Order, there's a similar scene where Cal Kestis, who is like the Jedi who's, he was a Padawan when Order 66, he comes across a starfighter and does the same thing. Like, he brushes the dirt off the starfighter and he touches the symbol. It's kind of like seeing like an American, like a flag, you're like a veteran and you see the flag and it means so much to you. And that very much like that, like this, it hits so deep with her. And to me, this was a sign of, yeah, I don't think she doesn't want to be in the position she's in. I think she wants out. So I love this. This is beautiful. Very beautiful moment.
I definitely think there's something bubbling just underneath the surface here that's going to really come out about what's going on with her. Christian, what did you get from this scene? Because now we saw this in the trailer, but it turns out to be in an entirely different context.
Yeah. So initially, I was a little bit frustrated because
I want to.
Sorry.
I felt that Reva found all of this way too quickly and easily. Now, initially, I queried in my mind two things. First of all, do we really need to see her looking all over the place for trapdoors to get into this, that, and the other? No, we should just get it. Let's get through this quickly. But then I thought, and I might be completely wrong here, but does she know this place? And like, when that droid walks out and then she walks in, does it start to trigger memories, or does she know the whole time that that's what's going on there? Did she carve that symbol into the wood? Are we going to see a flashback? Like, she seems to know that tunnel. She got ahead of Leia. Does she know the tunnel better than anybody else? Like, I don't know. I could be completely wrong. It's just Bailey, when you said about that Padawan at the start being potentially her, I can't get it out of my head, and now all I'm thinking is, what are the connections here? And it's all I can see.
Christian, that's brilliant. I never considered that, and I hope you're right, sir. That is brilliant right there. If that's her carving, and if she's been there before, brilliant. So well done.
Wow, yeah. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, and G-Force makes a good point. Besides forest plants, have we ever seen anything built from wood, which I thought gave it that really natural feel to what they were alluding to, which I thought was pretty cool. Christian, let's stick with you for a second here, because they get to a point where Obi-Wan just gets overwhelmed and Vader starts the torture process. What's going through your head here? What do you think of how they did this?
So this was the point that it was pretty crushing to watch, because Kenobi has lost basically, and this is the end. Vader has control over him. He can do what he wants. The way that he lights that fire, and you can see exactly what's coming. And obviously that line that was delivered in the scene prior to this, where he says, "What's become of you? I am what you made me," or something like that. That's hard hitting. Yes. So then to sort of say, I'm going to put you through what you put me through. Right. When he drags him into the fire, I couldn't believe it. And I was watching, like, is this for real? My only criticism is the fact that he's in that fire for a very long time. So that cape is pretty sort of, well insulated, fire retardant material, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, frightening. And this shot specifically, with his hand in the air and all those flames around him, he couldn't be any more evil. And I mean, the only thing they could do is put 2 red horns on his head,
Right.
Like,
It's just a devil scene. Yes. Go.
fantastic. Like the cinematography of this scene, considering it's quite a small quarry. Now, I have issues with what happens immediately after this,
Right.
but up until now, this, it was heartbreaking to see, because this is someone full of vengeance, wreaking havoc.
Yes. Bailey, wow, this is Disney Plus. You can clear that they've put the 13 level on this. What did you think of this so far? And we'll get to how it ends real quick in a second here.
I wasn't surprised what he was doing, but again, the suspense and anxiety in the show was so brilliant done, because I was thinking like, oh my god, how is he going to get out of this? How is he going to get out of this? Because as Christian said, he is done. Like, there is no way he can get himself out of this situation, and burning is incredibly painful, I imagine. So it's just like, yeah, and even though Leia told Tala to, go get him, I was like, well, is she going to? Like, there was so much, we know Obi-Wan lives. And that's what's brilliant, is even though we know what becomes these characters later, I'm still at the edge of my seat, like, oh, how are we going to get out of this situation here? And they did that so brilliantly. And I was just like, oh my God, yeah, that really cemented the whole, Vader wants Obi-Wan to suffer. He doesn't want to kill him immediately. And I can't help but wonder if there was no intervention, would Vader still let him burn in the fire, or would he let him go eventually? Because that would just be too easy. And I'm not sure, because, after Obi-Wan, even when there was intervention, Vader just kind of stands there. He kind of lets it happen. So it's almost like, yeah, I want you to live. I want you to remember this, and we're not done here. Like, I am coming for you. I just want to play with you for a little bit and scare you. I think it's brilliant, this scene. So,
Christian, I'd like your opinion on this. Plot device or logical conclusion? Hey, there's one of the most deadly Jedi that ever lived that I hate and want to make sure I hold on to. One Stormtrooper, go get him for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they could have come up with something a little better to justify him getting away here. Obviously, we needed Kenobi to get away, but I do think Bailey's right. Vader wanted to sort of let him get away, because, as most of the chat have been saying, he is toying with him. And at this point, Vader doesn't care about the fact that Kenobi's been in hiding for 10 years. He knows that he is now the master. He is top of the pile, and Kenobi is nothing. I mean, he's literally just dragged him into a burning fire just to toy with him. But yeah, the whole sort of bringing to me, one trooper goes along, gets shot, suddenly there's a fire, and suddenly Darth Vader couldn't just lift him up and bring him to him, or, the stormtroopers couldn't just go around the fire. And it was a little bit sort of a little bit like the Leia chases in the first episode, where can't go around the tree, got to go under it. Right. But they needed to get Kenobi away to continue the story.
Well, I think there's an honor thing. Vader wants to fight an equal. I think there's that too. So he's pushing him, become who you were before. I want my vengeance, but I want it to be a fair fight. It's like I said, taking a weakling, that's what's the satisfaction from that. So I think there's a whole thing, I want you to be motivated now to fight me again. So to me, it makes sense that he's yeah, I want him to live. I want him to remember this. I want him to hurt. And I want him terrified of me. But I think there's a whole honor. I want this to be a fair fight. And I think that makes sense, because when Obi-Wan dies in A New Hope, he's kind of coming back wait, are you really gone? He seems wait, this is over? And you could tell there was this isn't how he wanted it to end. So I think there's that too. Anakin, Vader wants Mustafar again. So to me, I think that just makes sense. He doesn't want this to be he doesn't want to be the most powerful in the room. He wants it to be an equal fight.
Yeah, what fun is vengeance if you can just lop his head off and walk away? That's anticlimactic. That's a good point, Bailey. Mm-hmm. Show note here. JTS, was that Hayden in the suit? As I understand it, Bailey, you're nodding your head, so correct me if I'm wrong. On the parts where we see his face, that's Hayden Christensen. When it's this acting like this, I understand there's a third guy that's in the suit a lot of the times. And the James Earl Jones voice is James Earl Jones. But if you look at the end credits, there's a company that de-ages his voice like they did with Mark Hamill. So it's a mix. In this scene, you're saying that that's Hayden in this scene right here, Bailey, do you think? Or is it that stunt double?
I would think so, because they made it seem like, Hayden was doing choreography and whatnot again. So I would think so. I was not aware of the third person. I mean, I could be wrong. I wasn't there when this was made, but I just always assumed that he was in that suit all the time.
Christian, do you have any info on that?
I don't. All I can guess is that I would imagine that Hayden would want to be the one in the suit, purely from an acting perspective, to get into the role and to experience this stuff. I don't know for a fact, though.
Yeah. So you're probably right, Bailey. I'm sure that it's during some of the fight scenes and stuff like that. It's probably Hayden in there because he really wanted to play Darth Vader. But maybe on some of the more intense scenes, or if the scenes run long, since it's so hot in the Southern California desert, maybe they move that other guy in. But yeah. But definitely when you see his face, like when they were suiting him up earlier, I know for a fact that's Hayden in that makeup and everything. So Mr. B wanted to just point something out to me. Christian, he's on your side. That's not Josh. Hey, Christian. Yeah. And that's the thing too. Hayden is just a little short for the suit. So they use camera angles and stuff like that. So maybe that's why they get the other guy in there, Bailey. Who knows? But yeah. Yeah, you're wrong, Rick. I love giving Rick a hard time. Yeah, and so Jonathan makes a point here. Bailey, Vader just forced people out of their home 5 minutes ago, but can't. I think he didn't pull him away from the droid to force crush him, right? He did on purpose.
I think this is something completely different. Obi-Wan isn't just a regular bystander, There's an emotional investment. He's got personal beef with Obi-Wan. A bystander that has no power is like, yeah, I could crush you.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is different. So I don't, that's like comparing apples and oranges to me. Like, yeah, he could kill a bystander, but Obi-Wan is different. He wants it to be a fair fight. And I'm going to keep my foot down on that one. But yeah, comparing a regular bystander to someone like Obi-Wan that means something to Vader is pointless, in my opinion. He wanted him to go.
Yeah, Christian, Bailey's made a very good point, because I asked this earlier and then she's kind of answered it. And I wanted to get your take on this now that you've had a chance to hear what she had to say. Vader literally just stands there and watches this go on, like right here in this picture. And now it makes sense to me. It's no fun if he can just kill him inside of 2 minutes. What are you thinking? What's going on through his head here while he just stands there and watches him leave?
Yeah, I mean, this particular shot, they've specifically obviously got this all angled so you can see the fire in the lenses and things, and that it just shows the emotion in a ridiculous emotionless helmet. You actually get the sense that this guy is full of rage, even though that could be on a shelf. There is no emotion there. It's brilliant. And I did sort of think that at that point he'd accepted that he was potentially sort of letting them go because he's going to catch them again. I get it. I hadn't considered the fact that he wanted a challenge, but it makes sense because who else other than Obi-Wan is there that could stand up to him? And now all I've got in my head is Hook. Obviously, at the start when Peter Pan's there, and he could kill him if he wanted, but he needs him to be Peter Pan. So yeah, I've got that stuck in my head.
Fair enough. Jonathan says, why does Vader, I think this is a legitimate question. I don't think he's being a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
why does Vader want it to be a fair fight? He's never been before in all of the OT movies, comics, games, or novels. I have a theory, but Bailey, I'd like to hear your theory on that answer.
I feel like this is kind of the Anakin part coming out. Like Anakin, at least from what I've gathered from the prequel stuff, is he's always felt like inferior to Obi-Wan a little bit. And like Obi-Wan was on the council and, granted the rank of master, where he was on the council, but he wasn't the master. I feel like there was like he wanted to be on Obi-Wan's level, if not more. So I think that's part of it, is he wants to be like, people keep bringing up that line from A New Hope, like, now I'm the master. I think there's that going on. Like he wants it to be a fair fight, to be like, see, I am worthy of being, as good as you were back in the day. So I think that's it. It's just a student wanting to surpass their teacher. I think that's where the fair fight is. And I think maybe by the original trilogy, he doesn't care anymore. I don't know. But yeah. I think right now, this is only 10 years later. So we still got a bit of time between then and then. So I think to me, this is just Vader wanting to surpass Obi-Wan and see, like, I am better than you in every single way, and watch this. I can kill you now. So I think that's what's going on here.
Christian, I see you nodding your head. Is Bailey crazy, or does that sound right?
Yeah, no, it sounds right. I think there's also it ultimately comes down to that deep personal connection. I mean, at this stage, correct me if I'm wrong, but he still pretty much blames Kenobi for losing Padme and his children. I mean, that sort of rage bubbling up, and whatever poison the Emperor's been pouring in his ear for the last 10 years, I think it's kind of believable.
Yeah. Bailey, you hit it. I think right now he's trying to prove something. 10 years from now, when Ben Kenobi's an old broken man, he's just like, all right, I'm tired of this crap. You're out of here, buddy.
Right.
You know yeah. Okay. Dino, this is still a collecting channel, so that's not a silly question. It's not stupid at all. We talk about the collectibles on this show as well. And the answer is no, I'm not getting the new Hasbro Vader helmet. It has some changes to it if you look at it closely, like notably the silver bridge of the nose. But the dome piece, in my opinion, is still too small for the face piece the way I would like to see it. I know it's changed depending on which movie, and it's basically just a repaint of the other one we already got. So I won't be getting that one. I will be getting the new artillery stormtrooper that just came out, though, even though I made my own right there, Christian. Now I'm going to have 2 of those because I'm getting that new one that just came out. So
Bob Ross's collectibles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Rick says, maybe he thinks he can turn Ben. Maybe there's a little bit of that in there. He can bring him to the dark side. Who knows? I think he just wants to get revenge. And Joe Blake Skywalker said it the exact same time you were saying it. She typed it in there, or I assume. I apologize. Reminds me of Hook when he let Peter get away to train. So yeah, absolutely. And then Vader saying, "You just wait till A New Hope." Yeah, and yeah, you're right. Yeah, there you go. He always felt Obi-Wan held him back too, and so he's trying to prove to him. See, if you hadn't held me back, I would have been as good as you. Anakin was all about using the Force to make people do what he was, right in the prequels. Sure. Unit fam, I agree with you, Bailey. Hit the like button. These guys are doing. Oh, thanks, Shabby. I appreciate that. They're doing a good job despite the fact that I'm here. All right. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for stopping by. She must not have been able to get a lot of context because she'll listen long enough to get a context because she has no idea what we're talking about. Drop a one-liner in there that seems to go with what we're saying and then bounce, but she might just be busy. Hi. Yeah, there you go. Many ways he's holding me back. Everybody saying hi to my wife. Thank you. I have to live here, so let's keep her happy. Yeah, there you go, Matt. Vader wants to beat Obi-Wan in his best. No sport in beating a broken man. There you go, Matt. Do we disagree with Matt half the time? And when he hits it, though, he hits it right on the head, I'll tell you. Mr. B likes the helmet. Okay. Matt pre-ordered the new helmet. I'll have to do the review instead of Paul. You will. I don't have any Vader helmets. And then Christian St. Paul, not getting the new Vader as I already have one. Definitely in on the Mortar Trooper. Oh, yeah. Oh, she is listening. Oops. That's brand new. So thank you guys for saying hi to my wife. I greatly appreciate it. Christian, you know this. Happy wife, happy life. So everybody goes their separate ways. We've come to what's the word I'm going to say here? We've come to an understanding in our heads of why he did what he did, even though while you're watching and he's like, Vader, he's right there. And I think those are some excellent explanations. We've had a lot of great people say some awesome things in the chat about why that may or may not have happened. And then we get this. Bailey, what you got here?
Once again, we got suspense for the next episode. Leia is not safe. Reva has her now, so that's why I can't help but wonder if Vader and her are going to interact or what Reva plans on doing with Leia. And now that Christian has said his brilliant theory about, Reva having been here before, this kind of would make sense. Like, how did she get there so quickly? Because Leia was, already running. Reva was kind of late in the game, so for her to get there that quickly and to take care of the pilot, I can't help but wonder. Christian, I just sincerely hope your theory is correct. It's brilliant, but yeah, this is where we left off. Is Leia's not safe after all? Nobody is actually, so that's what makes this episode so brilliant. Is we think we know what's going to happen, but no one is safe. Obi-Wan's beaten up, Leia's taken, the mission has been compromised, so that's where we are now.
And Luke's still back home by himself with, angry Uncle Owen. Christian, I'm going to ask you the same question in a second. Matt makes a good point. She did turn and run. So I'm going to laugh if Reva couldn't catch her like everybody else, because Reva's a dang inquisitor. So we'll see. But Christian, we kind of knew this was coming when she's like, Reva's figuring it out. But when you saw this, what did you think? And where do you think we're going next?
It's difficult because I've already given you my prediction of where we're heading with Reva, coupled with obviously Bailey's original idea. it's difficult. The line she delivers is "I'll take you from here,"
Yeah.
which is ominous because obviously it could mean anything. I don't think she's good. She's just killed 2 pilots, but I I don't know. I still think that Leia is purely a means of getting to Kenobi, potentially Kenobi and Vader. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see what comes next. Yeah, I don't really know what to say other than that. You know,
Right? Yeah.
I'm excited. This left me on another cliffhanger. I'm excited for the next episode.
And they've spoiled us because we're halfway through the series inside of 4 days, and now we got to wait a whole another week for the next one. I'm going to be itching for it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And you know what? Connor brings up a good point. We didn't mention it, but Kenobi fixing that little droid and handing it back to her. Wow.
Yes.
A little misty over that. You're just wow. You're cold. You're dead inside. It was Lola. You fixed her. And my favorite part too, Christian, is when they get in there and she introduces Lola to the loader droid, and she's like, "Say hello, Lola." It's oh my god, so good. So many parts of this show are good. All right, you guys, we're at an hour 50, so we're gonna jump right to the rating scale here. But for those of you that have been in the chat with us, thank you so much. And if you would like to join us on this one and then give us an idea of why you gave it this rating, especially if it's really high or really low in the chat, I'm going to go through those as well, and we'll get a consensus for where we're at. But Bailey, I'd like to start with you this time, ma'am. This episode only, 1 to 10, where are you at and why, ma'am?
I'm at a 10. I literally have no complaints, guys. This show is doing everything I've been preaching about, what I've been wanting in new Star Wars forever. I wasn't there for that part in the last stream too, but I also consider the first 2 episodes 10 as well. I've been engaged from the start of the episode to the end of the episode. It hasn't been predictable for me. The anxiety, the suspense, the lines, everything is so brilliant. Everyone is in character. I'm just so in love and engaged with the story, and things make sense to me. I'm not sitting there going huh. I mean, the only thing that's made me go huh so far is what's become of the Grand Inquisitor, but even then that's it's whatever. Yeah. I love this show, guys. They're doing everything I've been wanting. To me, each episode, it really feels like what I was wanting the book of Boba Fett to do. It very much is like a book. You have your rising action, this is flowing, each episode, it's revving up each time. It's building on each other, and this is exactly what I've been wanting. The music is great. The acting is brilliant. The scenery, the costuming, just the effects. It's wonderful. I have no complaints, guys. And I might be a little biased, but I just have to say this is wonderful writing and filmmaking that we're seeing here. So it's a 10, and this whole series has been a 10 for me so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to point out a historic occasion. In the totality of 3 series up to this point, that is the first 10 Bailey has given anything. I'm so excited. I'm so happy that you're happy because, man, it's been a little bit of a drive, right, Bailey? So I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Christian, you know the question. You know what I'm going to say afterwards. Where you at, brother?
I'm going to stick with the same score I gave the first 2, which is 9.5.
Nice.
I'm really pleased. I'm really excited. There were some issues for me in this episode. Potentially talking it through with you guys has helped improve the episode for me as well. Sort of hearing your theories about some of the concerns that I had. Which is quite nice. It's always nice to be able to talk this sort of thing through with like-minded people to get perspectives on things. It really helps. But yeah, exactly the same as Bailey. I think that it's great storytelling. I'm suckered in. Yeah, it's brilliant, and I really do use Mando as a benchmark of Star Wars TV series at the moment, and. I know I mentioned it a few times, but I think that Grogu was a real sort of a golden egg that brought in a lot of the audience. And I don't think that Leia is Grogu at all, but I think that they have taken a storyline and they have made it work for such a vast audience that we could have people that enjoy Mando enjoying this. And if they enjoy this, they might go on to watch Rogue One. They might go on to watch the original trilogy. They might go back to the sequels. They might then, watch the prequels. I think it's great. I think this is potentially a gateway for a lot of new Star Wars fans.
Wow. It's what I would call an ambassador series. It represents the rest of the lore very well and draws more people in. And we mentioned it earlier, whether you're as deep into this as Bailey or as not, or just a casual observer, you can enjoy some fact or form of this show. And it's awesome. So great. Very well put, Christian. Man, I'm glad we have you on here. Thank you so much. Let's get over to the comments. Connor's with you, Bailey. 10 out of 10, all the way downtown, touchdown, goal, football, soccer, whatever it is you guys call it in the UK, Ireland thing, whatever, it's cool. I love my UK brothers and Irish. Matt, since this is since this series is actually the Kenobi movie that we were supposed to get, I rate the series as a whole. I've gone from a 9.0 to 9.5. Yeah, there are a lot of improvements over last episode, and last episode was really good. Shabba out of 9. That's what I'm talking about. JT loves you too, Bailey, but he's messing with 1 to 10, A+. At least it didn't give you a 9.763528, right? You see the look on Bailey's face, right, Christian? Yeah. So this is an interesting one. Jonathan Redmond with a 6. Vader just letting Kenobi go like that was awful writing. Wow. And you know what? I respect that. I respect that. You know what? If you didn't like it, and no matter what, how we retcon it or whatever, if you didn't like it, Jonathan, I got your back, brother. It's nice to have some alter. We're all not just a yay fest in here. I feel you. Yeah. I feel you. I could see that. Yeah. Oh, good Lord. Hold on. Yeah, there you go, Mr. B. Obi-Wan is the best sequel so far. Brian's action figure reviews, 8 out of 10. Bailey, you got to talk to your girl. I think they just do this out of love for you now. Tina, 9.57684115 out of 10.
I love you, Tina.
There you go. Yeah. So you left last time and we did the ratings and someone put up there, well, it's not going to be any fun since Bailey is here. So I'm just going to give it a 9 instead of, yeah. So I think yeah. Rick, 8.5 out of 10, just as good as Mando. Yeah, well, you're wrong about Fett, but we still love you anyway. 10 out of 10 for Joe Blake Skywalker. Anything is off is just nitpicking to me. Fair enough. And I'll be honest with you, I'm nitpicking a little bit. There's a couple of things in there, but as Christian said, when you're talking about with you guys, it helped me a little bit because I'm like, why is he just standing there? And Bailey's like, because he wants to torture him. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Tina, is that pi times 3? Good Lord. Dino, I rate this an 8, and episode 1 and 2, I give them a 9. Excellent. And I like to hear that. Yeah, because some people are just having a little problem with the whole torture him thing. Just be done with him. And some aren't. And I can totally see that. I will follow you to Tesco, and when you're back, it's squash your bread and break your eggs, Jonathan Raymond. Wow. That is an incredibly UK Irish insult there. Wow. I don't know what a Tesco is and why we're squashing bread and eggs.
That's a grocery store, right, Christian?
Correct. Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Oh, now it makes okay. I thought those were metaphors for a bunch, bread and eggs, if you know what I'm saying, Christian. I was like, wow, Connor's angry. G-Force 9.7 because of the plot hole where Reva and the other lady should have met in the tunnel and Reva ended up. I don't think she went down the tunnel. I think she left the tunnel and went around. That's why she didn't meet her. Yeah, but fair enough. Tina, I like pie. Yeah, Matt, I'm shocked my rating is lower than Bailey's. Yeah, because Matt's normally loves everything.
Yeah, I'm not such a negative Nelly after all, am I, Matt?
Mr. B, episode 1, 8.5, because Mr. B just got here. Episode 2, 8.5. Episode 3, 9. We're on an upward trajectory. Good to hear, brother. I love it. There we go. Unit Fam 9, probably excited for the next episode. They leave you wanting with this one. Last time I was like, we got 2 more to go, so. Steve-O, 8 for me, and I'm so happy. I know it's this one's kind of uniting us a little bit more than last time. Geek Strong, Dino, I save a 10 for a blind blow. I give Stranger Things a 10 on the last episode. I haven't seen any of those. I don't have Netflix, though, so what do I know? Great point, Christian. Great listening to other people's views on the show. Yes. Let's get on down here. You guys, this isn't the Stranger Things breakdown.
Yeah, what the heck, guys?
Yeah. Dino, yes, great stream, everyone, including the chat. Thank you. Thank you very much. That actually means a lot to me. Brian, I like that it's not perfect, but I'm happy to have a smile on my face watching it. Does the job, sure. This is still not the Stranger Things breakdown. Thank you very much, Rick. I appreciate that. Oh, ATG cast. Great episode with nitpicky flaws. Agree. I believe, hold on. Where do I know this name? This is Pete Fletzer, I think, who we used to go back and forth last year during lockdown, if I'm not mistaken. Pete has a great cast He's much more professional than me. He has like, first of all, it's beautiful, but second of all, he has like real industry insiders and stuff. It's very fascinating. Thanks for stopping by, Pete, but you're right. Oh yeah. Okay, good. Good to see you, Pete. I don't think we've talked in a very long time. So thank you. But you're right. Great show. And what flaws we found, I think everybody agrees, except for maybe Jonathan Redmond. There you go. Yeah, love you, Bailey. I think other people, yeah. Pete Fletcher. Okay, thank you. I do recognize your icon. Good. And then Steve-O, great show. Great chat. You guys all rock.
You're wonderful.
With that, yeah, we're so lucky. We get a lot of great people that jump in with us, and I really enjoyed it. It kind of makes the show a lot better. But we're going to start winding down here as we're coming up on 2 hours. Christian, you know how I like to do. I don't want to cut anybody off. Did you get to say everything you wanted to say? Something you wanted to mention? Somebody in the chat you wanted to tell off before we leave?
Someone I want to tell off? No. It's been good. It's been good. I'm excited about the show. I'm loving the fact that we're bouncing ideas as to where we're going with, because that shows how good the writing is, that it could go in so many different directions. I'm kind of gutted that we're halfway through.
Nice. Bailey, any last words before I start slipping us on out of here?
No, I just want to say, just echoing off of what Christian was saying, I am just having a blast with this show and the stream, and I learned so much from everybody. Things that I miss things, and you guys bring things to my attention, and like Christian's brilliant theory about Reva, and I'm just like, oh my god, like that is brilliant. I am just having such a good time, between like what's going on in the chat with you two on here. I'm just having a blast, and I'm so happy. This show is, and it's like Christian saying, this show is clearly doing a good job, and it's kind of bringing everyone together, and we're all just having a good time no matter what we think. So I'm having fun, and I leave in peace, but I'm having fun.
Really quick, her name is Shauna. I know her from real life. She's the wife, well, she's also my friend, of another one of my coworkers, Bailey. So Shauna, good to see you. And she actually used to be a coworker as well, and we'll leave it at that. So yeah, Brad, great action figure reviews, great stream, lads. Thank you very much. Yeah, episode 4 already next week. You guys, we're burning through this. It's amazing. Thanks for stopping by as always. I love having both you guys in here. Tina, yay for Star Wars. I love you poking at Bailey a little bit with the pie. I got your back, girl. Guys, if you're in the chat, if you've been with us the entire time, we greatly appreciate it. If you're watching us on the replay, we do this on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you so much. It's been a blast. If you're watching us on the replay and you wanted to get involved in the discussion, please leave some comments down below. I know these guys read them, and I try to respond to all of them, and we greatly appreciate it. But we're here noon Pacific, 8 p.m. UK. It'll be Thursdays from here on out. Christian, was that confusing, or did I do okay?
No, you've done much better than last week.
Thank you. And we'll be here at, like I said, noon Pacific, 8 p.m. UK on Thursdays from here on out, because the show's on Wednesdays. We do them this late because it feels like it's been 2 days since the show has been out, to give everybody a chance to watch them so that you feel comfortable coming in here and you don't get any spoilers. And if you haven't watched it and you come here, then that's your own fault. So let's see. JT, yes. Thank you, Paul, Christian, and all in the chat. Love this breakdown show. It's the best. Wow. Thank you so much. Rick, my brother, you know I love giving you a hard time, but thank you so much for stopping by and always supporting us. I know Rick does this like 5 minutes after the show goes off at like 1 a.m. or something, and I just can't make those. I see them the next day. So I'm sure you're doing a great stream over there too, Rick. And then Mr. B, we're going to end it with that. That's a great way to go out. You guys have a great weekend in the chat. And Bailey and Christian, you guys know how we end this, right? We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye, everyone.